tango down.
In this video, we'll take a look at the 10 most stress-inducing enemies in Elden Ring. You know the ones that make you turn and run the other way as soon as you catch a glimpse of them. I'll also drop some hints, tips, and tricks on how to deal with them. By the end of this video, you'll be well equipped with knowledge about these troublesome enemies so that you can breeze past them and avoid all that pain and suffering. Let's see if this list matches up with your most stressful enemies. Lightning fast, constantly jumping all over the place, stun locking you to death, introducing dogs. Dogs have been a consistent source of frustration throughout FromSoftware games, and that's no different in Elden Ring. Maybe you've just fought off a large group of enemies and took a sigh of relief. Well, it'd be a shame if a random dog was to creep out of nowhere and to bite you in the backside. To make them even worse, you get different variants of them, such as ones that inflict scarlet rot and others that inflict bleed damage. So even if you whip up a shield and block, the scarlet rot and the bleed can make its way through that. One tip that might help with the dogs is you can actually buy a beast repellent torch from a merchant in Caelid, located here on the map. And when you have it equipped, the dogs won't attack you at all. In fact, when you have this torch equipped, instead of you running away in fear, you can actually turn the tables and they will run away in fear. If enemy dogs don't stress you out enough, then I'm confident the enemies ranked at number 5 sure will. Dogs in Elden Ring stressing you out? Well, how about giant dogs? It's like FromSoftware heard how many players hate dogs in Souls games and then said, hold my beer. These things are hyper aggressive, have a boatload of health, and deal huge amounts of damage. Their moves can sometimes be hard to read as they throw a combination of fast and slow attacks at you and just generally look like something out of the next horror film. The beast repellent torch actually works on the giant dogs as well, so you can just whip that out and they'll stay away from you. If you unequip it, they'll start to attack you, but if you re-equip it, they'll stop. However, if you deal any damage to them at all, they will start attacking you, and they will not stop even if you re-equip the beast repellent torch. You can also do a charged attack on their head to stance break them, then you can follow that up with a critical strike. And if giant dogs aren't creepy enough for you, you should see what's ranked at number 6. Need a target eliminating from 900 meters away? Giant crayfish got you sorted. Quite possibly the most accurate enemy I have ever seen in a video game ever. These guys just do not miss. It's like these things have had elite sniper training for 14 hours a day, every single day since birth, for at least 900 years. And don't even get me started on these two in Lanedale sewers. Absolute nightmare. They don't even really drop anything of worth and hardly any runes, so in all honesty, I'd just avoid them. Or curl up into a ball and cry, either one. Giant dogs, giant crayfish, and now giant crows. I can hear you saying, Azza, I'm seeing a bit of a giant animal theme going on here. Yes. FromSoftware plus animal enemies plus giant size equals nightmare fuel. Ever been to Mogwin Palace? Oh damn. Now you've got giant crows cranked up to insane difficulty. These variants have even more health and a new attack where they kind of flail all over the place for what feels like about an hour before finally stopping and moving on to some other crazy attack. You can stance break them by landing a few charged attacks. However, be very careful because they have a fake stance break which even plays the same audio cue. But they'll balance on one leg for a second before snapping you up in their beak and slamming you and your dignity into the floor. You could also technically mount up on Torrent and run away, but even then they seem to give Sonic the Hedgehog a run for his money as they race towards you at the speed of sound. Spiders creep you out? How about a giant severed hand that moves like a spider and crawls 10 times faster? Let's talk about Caria Manor Courtyard for a second. Whoever designed this place has one twisted sense of humor. Cast your mind back. You enter the courtyard, it's dark and gloomy, you see a shiny object on the ground. You walk on over to grab it and... Oh, hell no! The smaller ones aren't too bad because a lot of the time you can take them out with 1 or 2 hits, but the bigger ones, oh boy, they just don't stop giving you the finger. You can hit them with fire and they do a little bit of a stop, drop and roll for a second, but after that they get straight back up and keep on poking. And just look at their run towards you animation. It's just so creepy. Also, using a good shield, blocking and guard countering can sometimes come in handy. Cast your mind back to when you first defeated Margit at the entrance to Stormvale Castle. You were feeling pretty good about yourself. You just overcame a very difficult boss. You were walking with your head held high and your hopes and dreams even higher. Then bam! Warhawk time. You swing your sword as it swoops down to attack you, and before you know it, this bird is bending space and time to its will like Neo from the Matrix, dodging every single attack you throw its way. They don't really have a lot of health, which is obviously great, but yeah, good luck landing a hit on these guys. Once again, using a good shield and guard countering can come in quite handy for these, or bring a bow and arrow. If you're enjoying this video, I'd really appreciate it if you pop this video a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more videos from me. Well, what can I say about these things? Cheeky little tricksters lying in wait for an unsuspecting adventurer like yourself, hiding around corners and hanging on ceilings just waiting to pounce. One imp by themselves is not too bad, but we all know there's never just one imp. You'll be battling one and another will run up behind you and bite you on your backside. Not only that, but they duck, dive, weave and bob your attacks like a martial arts master. Once again, to make quick work of these, make sure to block, guard, counter and then follow it up with a critical strike. Banish Knight or Beyblade Knight? That is the question. I'm sure these enemies should really have their own boss health bar appear and theme tunes start playing when you encounter them. By the time that I've swung my sword once, they've swung theirs about 9 times, done 2 Beyblade spins, jumped up and down, and had a quick bite to eat. Not only that, but they seem to have more hit points than the fire giant. And you guessed it, once again, blocking and guard countering with a good tanky shield works insanely well against these. Pull off 3 guard counters, break the stance, and follow it up with a critical strike. It is worth mentioning that I do have boss guides for the vast majority of bosses on Elden Ring. Feel free to check them out on this channel. If you go down to the woods today, you're short of a big surprise. And I mean a big surprise. At number 2 is the rune bears. Well, the non-boss versions I think are called lesser rune bears, but don't let that fool you. There's nothing lesser about these. There's one particular attack where they charge towards you at a crazy speed, which you would think defies their very size, but nope, it's not a problem for rune bears. Now, I have defeated the Elden Beast and claimed my place on the Elden Throne, but I am no Elden Lord. The true Lord is still out there, scratching his giant claws against a tree, or perhaps taking a nap in some tall grass, because as soon as a rune bear comes running towards this throne, I'm bolting in the other direction. He can have it, it's all his. Rune bears tend to be way more trouble than they're actually worth, so I would just avoid them at all costs. If a 200 slap to the face combo wasn't bad enough, add in an ungodly sounding scream, teleportation and puking poison, and you've got yourself the most stressful enemy in the whole of Elden Ring. Think you can outrun them? Think again. Teleportation. Think you can block their attacks with a shield? Think again. That 200 slap combo will smash through your stamina faster than you can say maidenless. And let's not even get started on this courtyard area at the base of Miquella's Haligtree. You can technically cast an area of effect healing spell to do massive damage to them, but good luck actually pulling the heal off. By the time you've knelt down and started praying to the Erd Tree, this thing will already have puked in your face and slapped you at least 12 times.
No! God! No! No!
What do you think about the ranking of these top 10 stressful enemies in Elden Ring? Which enemy causes you the most stress? And if you want to dive even deeper, then check out one of these videos right here.
Join myself and King Azzavhar. Together we will devour the very god. What?